How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Today this commentary is actually a subject I just started putting together in my head, and that is we are entering a new era of shooters, and this isn't a bad thing. Recently, everybody has been sitting there playing Call of Duty and getting really tired of it because Call of Duty is the biggest shooter out there. Obviously, most games are taking inspiration off of it. Even Battlefield is starting to take inspiration off of it. If you cannot tell, unless you're an absolute Battlefield loyal fanboy, it is pretty hard not to see that Battlefield is also trying to steal some of Call of Duty's thunder, making progression systems not as complicated and pretty straightforward through a more or less leveling XP progression instead of doing a whole bunch of challenges to unlock. Now that's also Battlefield 1 doesn't have that many variety just because of they kind of screwed themselves locking them into World War 1, but that's a video for another day. Halo has even tried to copy Call of Duty. Obviously, Halo 5 is what I call Halo 5 Call of Duty Edition because it is the worst Halo out of all of them. And I would rather play Halo 4 all day, every day over Halo 5. Though the game itself is good, it's just not Halo. It's like, what game can I compare it to? I don't remember. But it's, you know, it's like Halo. It's not like Halo, but it's good if it was its own game, but just not a Halo game. Like Advanced Warfare, that's what I was thinking of. Advanced Warfare. If it wasn't a Call of Duty game, it would be a pretty solid game on its own. If that's what Titanfall went with, instead of Call of Duty going with what Advanced Warfare did, I think the game would have done really well, because it was something new, it had solid mechanics, and, you know, we would get our normal Call of Duty fix. But people for years have been getting tired of Call of Duty. Ever since Black Ops 2, the call for change has been absolutely apparent. And then finally Ghost came out and we got bigger maps. That's what we were asking for. We were tired of the Treyarch 3 lanes and we didn't like that. Alright. So then Advanced Warfare decides to give us 3 lanes, but also give us a elevation aspect with the exosuits. There was 3 lanes and 2 levels to every map, where one level was elevated up higher, while also 3 lanes could cut through the map for ground people. And then we get Call of Duty Black Ops 3 that basically just improved upon Advanced Warfare's thoughts and processes, adding the Treyarch 3 perfected 3-lane aspect. Infinite Warfare is still garbage. I haven't really played it, but it's more or less got 3 lanes as well. But we still have an issue now, of course, with Call of Duty itself. Now the issue is the future, and maybe World War II will bring it back, but honestly, I'm not thinking it's going to bring it back. Now, of course, for the people that were playing Call of Duty and left because of the futuristic jumping that left at Advanced Warfare, or I mean Infinite Warfare, it'll bring them back, of course, but I think Call of Duty has lost the core fans, because in reality, Call of Duty still plays just as good as it did in Black Ops 2. The mechanics are solid, but the movement speed we just don't like. But gunplay and, you know, grenades, objective play, it's all been the same. And if we're getting really tired of that, and it's not just the movements, we are not going to be able to enjoy World War II. Now, finally, getting off the Call of Duty rampancy that I've been talking about, what is this new era of shooters? I'm thinking strategic shooters is actually starting to take the limelight again. Back in the early 2000s, maybe 1990s, strategic shooters and strategic games in general were the games, especially real-time strategy games. The Command & Conquer series in the 90s was in its peak and was absolutely insane in popularity. And then we had the original Rainbow Sixes coming out, and the game SWAT, and this is actually what the video is going to be, Rainbow Six. The game that we have to look at is Rainbow Six Siege, because this is the game that is definitely showing that we want change. As gamers, as people that enjoy shooters, we want change. And Rainbow Six Siege gave it to us. We are tired of games hand-holding us. And this is what I was kind of referring to earlier when Battlefield was trying to copy Call of Duty. That anybody, no matter how bad you are, the way Battlefield 1 is, you do not have to be insanely skilled to at least snag a few kills. Now, of course, in Battlefield there is still a skill gap there that you have to learn to be able to absolutely dick on kids. But in Call of Duty, we all know anybody can get on and drop a 5-kill streak. I was dropping Moabs when I was 9 years old. So, obviously Call of Duty is dead easy, and Battlefield's starting to shift towards it, trying to target a easier and bigger demographic. But I think they messed up. Obviously, Battlefield 4 was absolutely insanely popular, and it actually still holds more players on it than Battlefield 1 does to this day. And I'm thinking that's because of the bigger skill gap. Gamers want a game that it takes skill, and they can pride themselves in saying that they're good at it. I prided myself for a while that I was good at Rainbow Six Siege. Now, obviously, that's just a boast to my friends, you know, tell them, hey, you should squad up with me, I'll carry you to a victory. Now, that is somewhat true. I did get pretty beastly at the game. I was ranked Platinum for a long time, almost hit Diamond, but then Horizon Zero Dawn came out in February, and I really haven't played the game since. So, I kind of fell out of the game, but I'm getting back into it. That's just because I got busy with playing other games. That is not because of my dislike for the game. But what does that mean? Why is it good for players to have a pridefulness and be able to feel like they can brag about it when they're good at a game? Well, that means that the game takes skill. Obviously, Destiny, when the Destiny first came out and the Vault of Glass raid came out, everybody was raving about completing the Vault of Glass. And I remember for the first time I completed the Vault of Glass, I did it before all my friends. I'm like, dude, I've done the Vault of Glass. It was super challenging, super hard. You know, I did it all on my own. I was only level 20. You guys should come squad up with me. I'm level 30 now. I got that Vault of Glass gear. I'll carry you through it. Now, obviously, Vault of Glass really isn't that difficult, but when I first went through it at a very low level, this was also back when Destiny didn't run off XP. Once past level 20, it was purely light level, that it was a pretty proud thing to be, you know, saying you completed Vault of Glass at that low of a level. But Rainbow Six Siege has a unique thing because this game is not for everybody. You cannot get on and do well. This game you have to take time and learn. It's like the original Halo. Now, the original Halo, when it first came out, or more or less Halo 3, going against veterans, I mainly remember this. We used to play as a family Halo 3 all the time. Halo 3 was our go-to game before we kind of merged all over to Call of Duty. And then everybody just kind of fell out playing first-person shooters except for me. We used to all play Halo as a family, my older brother, my little brother, and my dad, and me. We would sit there and play Halo and Halo 3, and I would never win. It was always be my little brother or my older brother, or not my little brother, my older brother or my dad that would absolutely destroy us all. And I'd get really frustrated, and this was also partially because they wanted me, you know, they wanted to keep a fourth person. They would tell me it's the only way to get better at the game was to get destroyed. Now, honestly, they do have some, you know, legitimacy there. I don't know if they really meant it or really knew the actual legitimacy that they had, but they did, and playing that game and getting destroyed made me the best first-person shooter player in the house, and actually made me fall in love with first-person shooters. Now, the reason why I don't like them that much anymore is because back then it was all about the grind, you know. Of course, I was going from hitting the bottom of the leaderboards and everything to hitting the middle of the leaderboards, and then after a few years of playing nothing but Halo and Call of Duty, I finally started reaching the top of the leaderboards. Now, to this day, I do not play a Call of Duty game where I did not finish on top of the leaderboards, and if I didn't, it's because I was playing objectively and not getting kills. Of course, kills always scores you more points in the end, so more people can always get on top of me on the leaderboards, especially in Domination and Black Ops 3, how the person above me will drop like 60 kills and have like 60,000 points or 6,000 points, and I'd be right below him with about 5,000, you know, high 5,000 points, but I was sitting there with like 18 flag captures. So that's the only time I never hit the top of the leaderboards now, and I kind of lost the motivation for the grind. But, oops, sorry, hold on. Sorry about that, I got a call from my mom. She wanted me to preheat the oven. That is my bad. But what I've been saying about Rainbow Six Siege, why this game is so widely successful, is because it makes you learn. This game has a major skill gap. This is not a game you could play the previous ones, because I have played the previous Rainbow Sixes. And this is not a game you could just go and play the previous ones and get into this one and be rocking and rolling. Because each Rainbow Six game plays so differently, except for maybe the sequels of each other, like Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Vegas 2. Those, of course, are going to play similar because, you know, they're the same game, just a sequel of each other. But Rainbow Six is definitely a unique game in itself because it's also never been done by the Rainbow guys before. This game took a player versus player priority instead of a PvE priority. Most Rainbow Six games are about taking your guys in and versing a whole bunch of NPCs. Now, I do think there was some classic multiplayer is what we know it today, but it wasn't how it was about. It was about commanding your squad, working together, going against an actually truly tough AI that was super intelligent, and going through and winning terrorist war. This game puts you, it's an anti-terrorist unit against an anti-terrorist unit, so you guys are pretty well equipped no matter what, each team, and to be able, the game is because, my bad. The game turns into a game of wits. You are both anti-terrorist units, so you both are very well equipped. So it's not about who has the most firepower, because you guys have about the same amount of firepower. The defense has more close quarters weapons, the offense has more longer range weapons, but you might be thinking, oh, that's unfair. No, it's not, because if you're playing defense right, you should be only doing close quarters encounters and making the enemy come to you. And the attackers, of course, get longer range assault rifles because of spawn peekers to counteract them, and a ton of different things. You know, they have breaching points they need to look through, and yada yada yada. But if two skilled players go against each other on one game, it's going to be a bloodbath. It is going to be a total game of wits. There is no such thing as gun power in that game. It's not who has the most powerful assault rifle. I mean, even Glass, he does have the most powerful assault rifle in the game, doing 50 damage a bullet. Can drop somebody in 2 bullets, and of course every gun can do 1 shot to the head. And this is one thing everybody brings up. Well, Glass is just the noob's weapon. Well, Glass's weapon, you actually have to be super accurate with it. Get it right on the T of the reticle. If you don't, you're missing. So it still takes skill even on the most powerful weapons. The shield characters, especially Montagne. Montagne is a huge talking point saying this is the noob's friendliest character. You know, they can get into the objective full shield and be fully invincible. Actually, they can't, because if you play with at least 2 other people alive and Montagne decides to enter on in the room, all you have to do is hit the shield while one guy prones on the bottom and keep shooting his feet until eventually his demise occurs. So there's always a counterbalance to these operators. This is going into how Rainbow Six is just a very well-balanced game. Even though some things are a little broken, but it's relatively a well-balanced game. But, you know, everybody can counteract the most powerful operator. Again, I'm going to go back to Glass because he does have the most powerful assault rifle in the game, the most powerful weapon in the game besides a grenade. So, you know, Glass is always a little sneaky little devil. He'll be sitting across the map and just sitting there peeking you guys. If you move around the window, he's going to pop you in the head like a real sniper would. You know, if a real sniper starts pinning you down, you're not going to sit there and stand up in a window. And everybody gets so frustrated saying Glass OP because they decided to stand up and run in front of a window. Well, if you run in front of a window in real life when a sniper's aiming down that window, you are dead. You are going to die just like you will in Rainbow Six Siege. So, and basically all you have to do is try to lure him. I've done this once before with my friends where Glass was sitting there on the outside of the window. He had 3 minutes left to get in the objective because we weren't playing ranked. And he sat there taking his mosey on time, taking his merry little time, just peeking us through the window. All of our teammates are running through. And I told my friend, you distract him through the window, make sure you don't die, and I'm going to go all the way around and peek through the window to the left and get a good shot on him. So after a while, I sat there creeping towards. I was proning the whole time because it was a lot of windows he could see me through, see me running to. So I finally creeped to that window, and I was bandit with an MP7 with an ACOG, which is, of course, the least amount of recoil ever in the best aiming down sights because it's an ACOG. So I finally get to that window, and I say, okay, you know, you need to distract him. So my buddy stands up, and Glass starts wailing on him, just pow, 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 pow. And then I break the window, and I pop him right in the head. Teamwork like that is what sells in games these days, because it gives the immense amount of satisfaction. It just feels awesome to have something like that occur. Of course, you're probably seeing some clips, you know, some badass clips of me playing Rainbow Six, or maybe some just mediocre gameplay because this is a longer commentary, which each round lasting about 1.5 minutes on average. So, yeah, guys, what do you think about the new era of gaming? I got really flustered, really frustrated getting my words out near the end, so I apologize. Hopefully I got my points out and points clear. I did say I was going to post Zombies Chronicles today, but I did end up recording a whole episode. It was 30 minutes of Origins, and I had a 40-minute long Verrucked gameplay, but the video ended up corrupting on both of them during the render, and my Elgato ended up saying that it was a full-on corrupted video. Now, hopefully that won't happen with this one, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about the new era of gaming. Am I spot on? Am I hitting something? Or is Rainbow Six Siege just a relatively lucky game? Now, I actually never explained why I'm thinking that. I kind of just explained why Rainbow Six Siege is awesome. But in the game, it is the only game ever to have increasing player rates throughout its lifetime. There is double the amount of players playing it now than there were on launch, and I think it goes up by about 25% every DLC released. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely leave a like and a comment, and subscribe if you're new here. We hit 205 subscribers. We're going up at a pretty decent rate. Alright guys, I'll see you all in the next one.